It's 3 in the morning. You're 70,000 years ago, curled against a cold rock, and your fire has burned down to a dull orange smudge. Something is out there. Big. You can't see it. You can only hear it breathing, slow and heavy, circling the edge of the light. You have no walls, no door, no weapon but a sharpened stick and a brain that is, right now, screaming and producing absolutely nothing useful. So how do you win a fight you were never built to win? Because let's be honest about the matchup. You are not going to outmuscle this thing. You're not going to outrun it, and you're definitely not going to outclaw it. You have fingernails. And yet your ancestors did this, not once, but for hundreds of thousands of nights in a row. Most of them woke up the next morning. The answer was never strength. It was something much sneakier. And once you see it, you'll never look at a caveman with a stick the same way again. Let's start by killing the picture in your head. When you imagine a sabertooth, you imagine a mouth built like a bear trap, 2 enormous fangs slamming down through solid bone. Terrifying. Also mostly wrong. When scientists actually modeled the skull of Smilodon, the famous American sabertooth, and worked out how hard it could bite, the number came back almost embarrassing. Its jaw closed with roughly a third of the force of a lion the same size. A lion. Its bite was closer to a jaguar's, an animal a fraction of its weight. Okay, this is where it gets weird. Those legendary fangs, some of them nearly the length of your hand, were not crushing weapons at all. They were delicate, fragile even. A sabertooth could not just chomp down on a struggling animal the way a lion does, because the sideways stress from a thrashing target would snap those teeth clean off. So it didn't. It used its massive neck and shoulder muscles to wrestle prey flat and pin it completely still first, and only then delivered one precise surgical bite to the throat. Think less bone-crushing monster. Think more assassin with a very expensive, very breakable knife. So why grow the knives at all? Because when it worked fast. Those fangs were built to end a giant bison or a ground sloth in a single deep killing wound. No long, exhausting struggle, no wrestling a half-ton animal for 10 minutes like a lion has to. It was a specialist, and a brilliant one. But specialists have a weakness hiding inside their genius. Their whole method only works on exactly the prey they were designed for. And that detail changes everything about your 3M standoff. Because what is the one thing a stabbing specialist cannot deal with? A target that won't hold still. You, standing upright, waving a pointy stick, shuffling backward, yelling nonsense. You are a nightmare to bite correctly. You're not a bison. You don't just stand there and absorb it. That precision weapon needs a cooperative victim, and you, my friend, are refusing with your entire body to cooperate. And you've got one more trick this cat has no answer for. You can throw. Really throw. Hard, straight, and from a distance. It sounds almost too simple to matter, but no other animal on the planet can hurl an object with anything close to a human's speed and aim. A chimp can lob a rock a few feet. You can put a sharp stone through the air fast enough to make a 200-kilo predator seriously reconsider its evening. That distance is everything. It means you can hurt the thing before it ever gets close enough to hurt you. And no ambush hunter enjoys taking damage from a target it hasn't even reached yet. Here's the part nobody puts in the textbooks. We're not guessing that people faced these cats. We have the receipt. At a site called Schöningen in Germany, archaeologists found the oldest complete wooden hunting spears ever discovered, beautifully made, carefully balanced, roughly 300,000 years old, though a recent study argues they might be somewhat younger. And in the exact same layer of earth, they found the teeth of a sabertooth. Same lakeside. Same slice of time. The researchers' takeaway is blunt. Those spears weren't only for hunting dinner. They were also for not becoming it. Quick honesty note, because accuracy is the whole point of this channel. That poster child sabertooth, Smilodon, actually lived only in the Americas. The cat prowling Ice Age Europe was a cousin called Homotherium, a scimitar-toothed cat, longer in the leg, more of a runner. Different animal, same problem for you. Whichever continent you happen to be shivering on, the lesson holds. Something with knives for teeth is quietly sizing you up, and all you've got is a stick. So let's talk about that stick. On its own, one person with one spear against a 200-kilo cat is a bad bet, and everybody involved knows it. But you were almost never on your own. That's the trick the movies always miss. You lived in a tight little group, and that group quietly changed the entire math of the encounter. Let that sit for a second. A predator doesn't actually want to fight. A predator wants a meal, and it wants that meal cheap. Low risk, low effort, no surprises. That's the whole business model. A lone, distracted, injured animal? Perfect. A cluster of upright creatures who spot it early, turn to face it together, start shouting, wave sharp objects, maybe hurl a rock or two at its head? That's a terrible deal. Even if the cat wins, it might take a spear in the ribs doing it. And a wounded predator in the wild is very often a dead predator, just on a slower schedule. Suddenly you're not prey, you're just not worth the trouble. And here's where it flips from defense to something bolder. Some researchers think early humans didn't only fend these cats off, they occasionally robbed them. Picture a group spotting a sabertooth on a fresh kill, sizing up the situation, and simply deciding to walk over en masse, making a tremendous amount of noise, and take it. A single cat, tired from the hunt, does the grim little cost-benefit calculation and backs away from its own dinner. The clawless primate just committed armed robbery against a sabertooth and won. This is the real weapon, and it was never the stick, it was the bluff. It was a slow, soft, clawless animal working out that you don't have to beat a predator. You just have to convince it that eating you is a genuinely stupid idea. You make yourself expensive. You make yourself loud, tall, unpredictable, and irritatingly well-armed for something so squishy. Scientists who study this even point out that big cats mostly hunt at night, while your ancestors did most of their moving and foraging by day. Read between those lines, and a huge chunk of the survival strategy was just politely avoiding each other. Mutual respect. Prehistoric edition, which is either deeply impressive or deeply unsettling, probably both. And then there's fire, the thing that closes the deal for good. A fire doesn't just keep you warm, it rewrites the rules of the dark. Almost every large predator on Earth carries a deep, hardwired fear of open flame, and a controlled fire in your hands flips the whole relationship on its head. The thing that hunts by ambush simply cannot ambush what it can plainly see. Standing there inside a ring of light, it is far too afraid to cross. You didn't just borrow fire's warmth that night. You borrowed its authority. And think about what that actually bought you. It bought you the night itself. For most animals, darkness belongs to the hunters. It's when the ambush comes, when eyes you can't see are already watching. But a group huddled around a steady flame turned the deadliest hours of the day into something almost safe. You could sleep. You could rest and heal and talk and keep the little ones close, while the thing in the dark paced the far side of the light and found nothing worth the risk. A slow, soft primate had quietly stolen the one time of day it was never supposed to survive. Now stay with me, because this is the good part. Add all of it up, and something quietly remarkable appears. You had no armor, no speed, no natural weapons worth the name. What you had instead was a brain that could plan a move before making it, hands that could turn a branch into a spear, a group that would stand shoulder to shoulder instead of scattering into the dark, and the raw nerve to face down a thing built to kill you and simply refuse to run. That combination is so effective that we are quite literally the descendants of every single ancestor who managed to pull it off. Not the strongest ones, the ones who stood their ground together. There's something almost tender in that, once you slow down and really look. Picture them. A handful of people, small and cold and afraid, forming a ragged line in the dark between a hungry animal and the children sleeping behind them. Nobody told them to. There was no plan written down, no leader barking orders, no strategy but instinct. Just the deep, stubborn certainty that we survive this together or we don't survive it at all. That instinct is older than language, older than farming, older than any word we still have for it. And it is the reason you are sitting here, safe, watching this at all. Every time you feel a little safer in a crowd. Every time a group of total strangers instinctively closes ranks the second something feels wrong. Every time you stand a fraction braver just because someone is standing right next to you. That's it. That's the exact same ancient reflex, 300,000 years deep, still humming quietly underneath everything you do. Not muscle, not claws, each other. 300,000 years later, you're still doing it. Funny how that works. So here's what I actually want to know. If it were your fire, your group, your ragged line in the dark, Would you have held the line or would you have run? Tell me in the comments.